From the Millersville University Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Kyle Elliott here with the short-term forecast and video discussion issued on Monday, July 6th. Well, it certainly was a wild 4th of July weekend in terms of the weather. We had a record-breaking historic heat wave from July 2nd through the 4th. In fact, the high temperature of 102 degrees on Thursday, July 2nd here at Millersville broke the old record for July 2nd of 101 set in 1966. And this was the first time we've had 3 consecutive 100-degree days at the Ville since that heat wave on the very same 3 days in 1966. So we dealt with a very similar heat wave exactly 60 years later. And then oftentimes heat waves end with a literal bang, and that's exactly what happened over the weekend. Severe thunderstorms on Saturday were responsible for hundreds of wind damage reports across northern Maryland, southeastern PA, and the Lower Susquehanna Valley. And then round 2 dumped 2 to as much as 5 inches of rain across parts of northeastern York, northern and western Lancaster, and southern Dauphin and Lebanon counties on Sunday. We're going to deal with a round 3 here this afternoon, but I do have a bit of good news in terms of its coverage and location, as I think that this easterly flow and these low clouds that we're dealing with as I look out the window right now may spare us and protect us from more additional flooding downpours. So without further ado, let me start by taking a look at our daily climatology. I'm expecting a high of 80 this afternoon at Millersville, and that's 5 degrees below the normal high of 85. This morning's low of 69 was 7 degrees above the average low of 62. Today's record high was 100 degrees set in 2010 with a record low of 44 set in 1918. As we take a look at the sky cam from Millersville University, well, you'll notice there are no breaks of sun out there, and that's a good thing in terms of atmospheric stability and limiting the threat for heavy drenching thunderstorms this afternoon. We've got these low clouds moving in from the east through the easterly flow off the Atlantic. The visible satellite imagery confirms this. As you see these low clouds in place across northern Maryland, central and southern PA, and then also eastern PA as well, you will notice some breaks in the sun west of the Appalachians and also here across parts of the Delmarva region into far southeastern PA and western New Jersey. And you'll notice that on the radar imagery, that also lines up well with where you're starting to see some of these showers and thunderstorms erupt across far southeastern PA, parts of northern Delaware, eastern shore of Maryland, and parts of New Jersey. And then you'll notice a few of these cells starting to go in the higher terrain of the central Appalachians. But in between, there's not much activity right now, and I think that has to do with these low clouds and the easterly flow that's helping limit the instability that's present in the atmosphere. And fingers crossed that's going to continue throughout the rest of the afternoon. I don't really see any chance of these clouds breaking. So the hardest hit areas yesterday, again, were parts of York, Lancaster, Dauphin, and Lebanon counties. They might be spared this afternoon from much of any precipitation, just a few light showers, so that's good news in terms of additional flash flooding. As we take a look at the 3-kilometer NAM model for 8 p.m. this evening, you'll notice exactly what I was talking about. You've got these heavier showers and storms developing in the central Appalachians, parts of southern Maryland and northern Virginia where there's some peaks of sun right now. But to its north and east, here across the Lower Susquehanna Valley and much of southeastern PA, kind of void of activity this afternoon and this evening. So as of right now, again, fingers crossed, I am only thinking a few showers across much of the region this afternoon. Once you get west of South Mountain, say into Franklin County, maybe far western parts of Cumberland, Perry counties, even far western Adams County, that could be a different story. Also, once you get around into the south of Interstate 70, it could be a different story with some heavier storms between 4 and 8 p.m. But again, much of the lower Susquehanna Valley may be spared from heavy activity. This afternoon and evening, we'll just see as the next few hours progress. As we take a look at the 3-kilometer NAM then for 2 p.m. on Tuesday, what you'll notice is this slow-moving storm system that's over us today. Part of it slides into the western Atlantic tomorrow afternoon. Another piece of it heads into the southern mid-Atlantic states, and we're going to be left with that easterly flow again. So again, fingers crossed, I don't see much additional activity on Tuesday, maybe a hit or miss shower throughout the day. But overall, just a cloudy, cool, but still rather humid day with those low clouds in place and that lingering easterly flow off the Atlantic. High temperatures will only be in the upper 70s to around 80 degrees both this afternoon and on Tuesday, so that's a welcome change from the heat of the last several days. As we move forward then into Wednesday, we actually have this bubble of high pressure that's going to settle over the northeast. That easterly flow relaxes, so some morning clouds should give way to partial sunshine in the afternoon. Dew points will only be in this mid to upper 60s on Wednesday, so typical humidity for early to mid-July standards. And honestly, Wednesday looks like a pretty nice day with high temperatures in the low to mid 80s and partly to mostly sunny skies by the afternoon hours. So as we take a look at the short-term Campus Weather Service forecast, mainly cloudy, warm and muggy tonight with scattered showers, low 66. Humid on Tuesday with clouds, some breaks of sun, a few passing showers, high 78, and then turning out partly sunny and pleasant on Wednesday with a high of 82. Well, that'll do it for this edition of the short-term forecast. Tune back in next Monday for the latest edition. Until then, keep an umbrella handy and stay dry out there this afternoon and this evening.